Could what we saw during the House Speaker stalemate, outbursts and congressmen being physically restrained, become something we see more often? A Republican Congressman Mike Rogers lunging towards fellow Republican Matt Gaetz on Friday over the Speaker vote, as Gaetz was the main holdout. You can see Rogers being held back. He later said he regretted losing his temper. Gaetz says all is forgiven. But here on Morning in America on Tuesday, Gaetz revealed this about the drama we saw playing out.
So because we have such a close working relationship, it's okay that you get animated or frustrated and then move past it. I think what was really different about this is we had cameras actually filming the members of Congress on the floor. That doesn't usually happen. And here the American people got to see some of the chats, some of the disagreements. And I think that's actually a good thing for the Republic. I'm going to be working with some of my colleagues in the Congress to allow more cameras on the floor to be able to see what the elected representatives of the people are doing.
And Gaetz did exactly what he shared here with me on Morning in America. He introduced an amendment to allow more cameras on the floor. Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, joining me right now. Niall, good morning. I know Congressman Gaetz is saying that this kind of drama happens all the time. We just don't see it. So would it benefit them to have more transparency here?
I think it would benefit the public to have more transparency as a general matter. Now, when Congressman Gaetz says that, I think he is trying to lower the temperature a little bit and perhaps be gracious after Congressman Rogers did express his regret. It is certainly true, as Mr. Gaetz said, that our politics is raucous. Those kind of confrontations, though, were not that commonplace. I mean, the last one I remember was back in 2021 when there was a contretemps between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That stuff is not that normal. But yes, transparency, greater transparency is a good thing.
I mean, in terms of greater transparency, though, I mean, should there be a limit? Should there be some conversations that are kept out of the public eye?
Well, that's the big question, really, Adrienne, for two reasons. One is, if you show every conversation, do you, in a way, disincentivize compromise and negotiation? Do you make it very difficult for members of Congress to have private conversations? And then the flip side is, do you incentivize people to play to the cameras? People would argue a parallel process has played out in the legal system, where we now have criminal trials televised. Yes, you get to see more, but you have lawyers playing to the camera. I think that's an important parallel.
But does anybody really want to know how the sausage is made? I mean, I think the American public wants to have answers. And at the same time, there are things that happen behind the scenes of every vestige, every area of life and industry and politics that really is sacred in some matter, don't you think?
I think that there are things that are sacred, and I think privacy is sacred, and I think it is important for members of Congress to be able to have private conversations. The counter-argument is the chamber itself is a public body, and therefore the public should be able to see what goes on there. I know Congressman Gaetz in his interview with you cited the British example. The British House of Commons is televised, but there are still quite tight restrictions on exactly what shots can be shown, just as there are in our House of Representatives.
And I think, too, that if there are cameras, I spoke about this being like Candid Camera, the old TV show, where, you know, if you know that there's a camera there, you may not conduct yourself in the same way you would if you knew that this was a private conversation. So that could add a new level of graciousness to a lot of the political discourse. But are we seeing a new wave of politics here? I mean, do we have a new politician where the gloves come off and they just think it's authenticity over propriety?
I think there is a market for authenticity, for sure. And I think that there is an old idea that politics is downstream of popular culture. And we see in popular culture authenticity being valued, people talking about the kinds of things that they would never have spoken about a generation ago. In saying all that, I do think it is a complicated situation in Congress because of exactly the factors that you mentioned. There is a need to be able to conduct some business discreetly, I would say, at the same time as the public has an interest in knowing what's going on.
Right. It's kind of like military secrets. You know, I think I want to know what the military is doing, but then I know that there are things I should not know. And it would be better if I didn't. Niall Stanage, thank you so much. I know, maybe we all need to have an air of mystery about us.
An air of mystery. That's not what this program is for, but maybe in Congress, maybe they can have that.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.